Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to discuss that what are variables in JavaScript. We will talk about what are variables in programming. We will discuss the difference between var, let and const. We will also discuss about scope, hoisting and redeclaration for each of them. We will also discuss that what is the best practice to use today. Stay till the end and this topic will become crystal clear for you. Okay, so what are variables in JavaScript? Variables are containers for storing data values. They act like storage boxes in your computer's memory. For example, whenever we make a website or whenever we make a website or web app, so what is happening that frontend sending some data to the backend, or we can say it backend, we can say it a server or database. So frontend wants to some data to the database or backend. So before sending the data to the backend, we need to hold that data on the frontend side to perform some frontend logic. For that reason, we need variables. So let us understand with the help of a diagram. This is our frontend and this is our database, or this is our backend. We can say it backend or database or whatever. Okay. So user want to send some data from frontend to backend. But before sending this data from frontend to backend, we need to hold that data on our frontend side. But for holding that data on frontend side, we need some storage or we need some container. So these containers are known as variables. So what is happening? We take the value of user. Okay, so here is the user value. If we write here, so this is the value which is coming from the user. We store this value into any variable, and then we use this variable to our front end. We use these variables into our front end side and we perform some front end logic, and then we can send this data into backend, and then backend will send that data to the database. So that's how it works. Similarly, when backend wants to send some data to the front end, so before showing that data to the user, we need to hold this data into variables to perform some front end logic. Now we will see that there will be three types of variables that we discuss. Number one is var, number two is let, and number three is const. So here we will discuss these three types of variables: var, let, and const. In JavaScript, the var keyword is used to declare a variable. Before the introduction of ES6, the var is the only way to declare a variable. Before ES6, whenever we want to declare a variable, we are using var keyword. ES6 introduced let and const keywords in 2015. So how to declare a variable using var keyword? We write var, then we write the variable name, equal sign, and then we write the value of the variable. So here I write the value in the string form, but we can write the number, we can write the boolean value, we can write the string. So whatever data type, we will discuss the data type in the coming videos. So the value of the variable we can write in any data type. It can be string, it can be number, it can be boolean. Okay, so let's come to the VS Code, and here we will see that how to declare a variable using var keyword. For this, first of all, we will write the var keyword. Then we will write the variable name of that variable. In my case, I will write the name, and then we will give the value. So the value will be my name. So that's how we can declare a var variable. So if we console it, console.log name, we will save the file and we will run the file using node that in the previous video, node name of the file test.js. So you see, my name is printed in the console. This is how we can declare the variable using var keyword. So let's discuss about the scope of the variable using var keyword. Okay, so if I make a function, const function, I make an arrow function. So if I declare a variable where a is equal to 10 inside that function and I console it, console.log a. So now I am declaring a variable using var keyword inside that function and I am trying to get the value of that function inside the function where I declare the variable. So in this case, I will get the value. So if I run the code, so this is the method of calling any function. We just write parentheses in front of that function. So now save the file and now again run. The name that I declare outside global, that is also printed, and the value of a, this is also printed 10. Okay, but what will happen if I write this line outside the function? Okay, if I write here, so now what I'm doing, I am declaring a variable a using var keyword inside that function, but I am trying to get the value of a outside of that function. So in this case, what will happen? If I save the file and I will run the code, I will again run the file. Now I will see an error. You see, the error is a is not defined. Okay, console.log a. So it is telling that in the line number 11, the error, what is the error? A is not defined. So this is the a that it cannot be find the value of a because I am trying to access the value of a, but I declare the value of a inside that function. So this is the concept of scope using the var keyword. Now we will see the concept of hosting. So what is hosting? Hosting is that I try to access the value before its declaration. For example, if I declare a variable a is equal to 10, I declare the variable a in the line number 20, but I want to access the value of a before its initialization or before its declaration. So now in this case, I am accessing the value before declaring. Okay, so if I save the file and I will run the file node test.js, this is come undefined. Why? In the case of var keyword, the variable can be hosted before its declaration. For example, in this case, we declare the variable a, but we try to access the value of a before its declaration. The variable can be hosted. The variable exists before its declaration, but its value will be undefined until it will reach the line number 19. So if we write the same code after the line number 19 or after its declaration, we save the file and we run the file. Now we will get the value. Why? Because now it is declared and its value will also be assigned. Okay, the next concept is redeclaration. Redeclaration. So what is redeclaration? For example, if I declare a second variable b, and its value will be 20. So if I want to declare the same variable name, I can declare. For example, if I write variable b again and I change its value to JavaScript. Okay, so it is allowed while using the var keyword. Okay, so if I write the console.log and I try to access b, I will get the value. I will face no error. We comment this, save the file, run the code. You see, we get the value JavaScript that we change here. Okay. There will be no error if we again declare the variable. Okay, but that is not the same case in the case of let and const keyword. There will be a different keyword, but that is not the case in the let and const keywords. There will be a different case. In JavaScript, let is also used to declare the variables. So the syntax of declaring the variable using let is the same. Let we write the let keyword, we write the variable name, and we declare the value, and the value is value of variable. So this value can be anything. This value can be number, value can be number, string, boolean, or anything. Okay, so if we console this variable and we save the file, we run the file, so you see the value of variable. Okay, we get the value of variable by using the let keyword. But there are some different things by using the let keyword. In JavaScript, let is used to declare variables. It was introduced in ES6 in 2015. Let keyword solve a lot of problems that the where keyword had. It is especially relating to the scope and the redeclaration problems that the where keyword has. Let's solve those problems. So what are those problems? First we see that what is the scope of the let keyword. Okay, what is the scope of let keyword? So the scope of let keyword is block scope. Okay, it is block scope. So what is mean by block scope? Okay, if I write a function const function1 f1, okay, I write an arrow function. If I declare a variable using where keyword and I again declare a variable name which is JavaScript, and now I write a if statement, if block, if a is equal to 10, if a is equal to 10, then execute the code which is inside this block. So inside this, I again declare a variable class name, and class name is, so I declare this variable where keyword inside this if block. Okay, but if I try to access this variable outside of this block, okay, so now you see that I write if block, if statement, and this is the block, this is bracket start and this is bracket ends, but I am trying to access this value outside this block, this if block. Okay, so let's call this function f1, save the file and run the file. So you see, I can get the value. Okay, so now what is happening? I am declaring the variable class name by using where keyword, and I am accessing this value outside of this if block. Okay, so whenever I declare the variable using where keyword, it will be accessible within the whole function, within all the function. Okay, it is not specific to this block, but the let keyword is specific to this block. If I change this where keyword and write let, now I am declaring a variable by using let keyword, and now the scope of this variable is within only this block, from here to there, within only this block. This variable class name is not accessible outside of this block, and I am trying to access this variable here, and now I will see an error. If I run the code, so you see there is an error. What is error? Class name. Class name is not defined. Okay, so this is the console.log class name. So the program, the function is trying to access the value of this class name, but it cannot find the variable within function. Why? Because the class name is specific to that block, that if block. if I write this class name and I'm trying to access inside that block, now it will get the value. Now if I save the file and I run the file, so you see I can get the value of the class name, which is Bachelor of Computer. So now we will look the hosting concept. What is the hosting concept of let keyword? Okay, while it come to hosting, variable declared with the let keyword are hosted but not initialized. This means that if we try to access them before declaration, we will get a reference error. If I declare a variable C, and its value will be 34, and I try to access the value of this variable before its declaration, so in this case, we will get a reference error. So let's save the file and run the code. You see, there is an error. What is the error? Reference error. You see, reference error cannot access C before initialization. Okay. So basically it is saying that variable C is initializing on the line number 59, but you cannot access it before the line number 59. Okay. So if we write this thing after declaration, then we can get the value. Now here we get the value 34. It is not same as the where keyword. In the where case, we can access the variable before its declaration, but its value will be undefined. But in the let case, we cannot even access the variable before its declaration. It will give us the reference error. Now let's see what is the rule of redeclaration. So if I declare a variable x is equal to name of person, sorry, we need to initialize a variable using let keyword. Okay, so if I redeclare the variable using let keyword, let x is equal to 23, now it will give us the compile time error. What is the error? Cannot redeclare block scoped variable x. So x is a block scoped variable and we cannot redeclare it. Okay, we cannot redeclare it. But what we can do, we can change its value. Okay? If we want to change the value of the variable, we can change. For example, if I write only x is equal to 34, that is allowed. That is completely allowed. Let keyword allow us to change the value, but it will not allow us to redeclare the variable. If I redeclare, it will give the error. But if I only change the value, it is allowed. Okay. So this is the concept of redeclaration. In JavaScript, const keyword is used to declare variable whose value should not change. It was introduced in the ES6 in 2015 along with the let keyword. So what is the method of declaring a variable using const keyword? Same, const, the variable name, and the variable name will be name. If we access the variable name, save the file, run the code, we will get the value. Declaring syntax is same as the where and let. Now we will talk about scope of the const keyword. So the scope of the const keyword is similar to the let, it is blocked scope. If we uncomment it, so here you see this was the example of the let keyword where we declare a variable using let keyword and we see that let was the block scope. Let cannot be accessible inside this outside of this block. Outside of this block, we cannot access this variable let. Okay, so if we change this const and then we try to access this outside, and now if we save the file and we run the code, we will see a reference error. Okay, reference error. What is the error? Class name is not defined. Okay, so this is the variable class name, and we declare the variable class name inside the if block using const keyword, but we are trying to access the value of that variable outside of the block. So it will give us the error. So if we will again write in the same block and then save the file and then run the code, see, we get the value. We get the value of class name. Okay, so what is the difference between let and the const keyword? Because if we see, syntax is the same and the scope is the same, but what is the difference? The difference is that we cannot redeclare or reinitialize its value. Now we see the redeclaration. So if I declare a variable const a is equal to 10, and if I try to again declare the same variable 34, it will give us a compile time error. What is the error? Cannot redeclare block scoped variable a. A is a block scoped variable and we cannot redeclare it. This is a compile time error. Okay, we cannot redeclare. Can we change the value? Can we change the value? If I save and I try to run the code, it will give us the error because const value cannot be changed. Assignment to the constant variable. What is the error? Assignment to the constant variable. This variable is a constant variable. Constant means its value will remain the same. Its value will remain the constant. Whenever we declare a variable using const keyword, we cannot redeclare it. We cannot change its value. Its value will remain constant. This is not same in the let keyword. If we write let here, if we try to log the value, you see, we get the value. We get the value 34. Before, we assign the value a to 10. Then we change the value of a, that is 34. Then we are accessing the value. It will print the value. But if we write here the const, it will give us type error. What is the type error? That you cannot change the value of a. Assignment to constant variable. It means we cannot change the value of a. So that is the difference between var, let and const. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends who are learning to code. Let me know in the comments what topics you want me to cover next. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more coding tutorials every week. See you in the next video. Until then, keep coding and keep growing.